Hi guys. Hello. How are you all doing? Okay. Hi. Hi Girish. Hello. So I think the first question that I have here is how to take medical insurance before entering into NUS and how many ways are there for joining NUS MBA or NTU MBA? So when it comes to medical insurance, I think that is something the university will let you know once you've received your admission. So you need to get your medical test done in the NTU, in the NUS medical center itself, and once you clear that, you can join the university. What is the scope of studying psychology in Singapore and what are the eligibility criteria and best universities for MA honors in psychology and the scholarships that are offered? Okay, that's a lot of questions. But yeah, let's tackle them one by one. Scope of psychology in Singapore. To be very honest, I actually don't have much idea about it because I come from the engineering background, but both NTU and NUS have psychology courses to offer and they are considered pretty good. In terms of eligibility criteria, it depends whether you're planning for a master's or you're planning for an undergrad. So for an undergrad, generally you need your class 12 scores. Uh, for MA honors in psychology. Yeah, so obviously your undergrad scores, GPA, all those things are important. For other admission requirements, I think it's best to check the university website and find out. Scholarships. In terms of scholarships, very less scholarship schemes are available for Singapore universities, especially for masters programs. I would recommend best is to go for a service obligation scheme if that is available. Otherwise, scholarship options are pretty less that way. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to know about Singapore? Can I know who all are here actually? What is the scope for mechanical engineers in Singapore? Pretty good, I would say. So the most popular program in Singapore is about MAE, is the mechanical and aerospace engineering program, and both universities, which is NTU and NUS, they have a tie up with a lot of tie up with a lot of companies. So Mercedes Benz, Boeing, they have a tie up with these companies. So if you're doing your engineering in mechanical engineering in these universities, you actually get to work with these companies, work on their research projects. So it's pretty interesting, and after that obviously you can get hired by these companies as well. Can I do engineering diploma after 12th commerce in cheap college in Singapore? I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. See, in Singapore, cheap college is also going to be very expensive. And at the end of the day, if it's not reputed, then there's no point of spending so much money and studying in Singapore, right? So, my personal recommendation would be to not go for diploma courses in Singapore. Okay, admission process for engineering in Singapore. I think I've actually made a very, very detailed video about it. Please don't make me repeat everything here. And you can check that out probably. Go to my playlist of studying and working in Singapore, and the entire admission process is there, whether you want to go for undergrad or you want to go for masters. For NTU, what is approximate total monthly expenses? Accommodation, food, miscellaneous. Okay, yeah. So I think that's an interesting question, and I'd love to answer that. So if you're going to NTU and if you're going to start, if you're going to live on campus, then you might spend somewhere between $450 to $650 for your room, based on whether you want to go for like a shared room or you want an individual room. So let's take the higher amount. Okay, so say for example $600. Let's take on an average you'll be spending for accommodation. Food again depends on whether you want to cook your own food or you just want to buy food every day. If you don't want to cook yourself and if you purchase food, then I would say roughly each meal costs around $5. So let's take $10 per day. That brings it to $900. And then if you travel a little bit and you go out, say at least once or twice in a month, let's take $200 for that, and any other miscellaneous expenses that you might have. So somewhere between 1,100 to $1,200 that way. If you're a person who's very stingy like me, and you save a lot of money, then easily you'll be able to manage within $1,000. That's 50,000 rupees per month. Okay. In Indian money, how much money is needed for studying in NTU or NUS? So, on an average, the fees in NTU and NUS is approximately 10 lakhs per semester if you do not have any scholarship or any service obligation. So, based on the duration of your course, roughly you can estimate it around that. Okay. Uh, Chemical engineering is available in Singapore. Yes, yes, absolutely. Um, okay, extracurriculars are important for bachelors in Singapore or not? So that's a good question. Singapore, that way, is a very, very academic focused country, just like how we have it in India. So, extracurriculars don't matter too much. It's always better to focus on your academics more. The higher score you're able to get in your academics, the better it would be. But if you do have stellar extracurriculars, like say for example you're like a chess champion, or very good at basketball or very good in cricket, then obviously these things do add weightage, and you should definitely mention it in your applications. So when I compare NTU and NUS, I think NUS pays a little bit more focus to extracurriculars as compared to NTU. Yeah. I'm automation engineer and my partner is in tech support. How's job opportunities for her? Cause need each other's earnings to manage expenses and other stuff. Any insights would be appreciated. Um, so she's your partner is in tech support, right? I mean, job opportunities also depends upon the kind of visa that you are holding. Sometimes if you're going from India, then getting a visa there is difficult unless you have like a dependent pass. Otherwise, if both of you are earning, then I think you'll be able to manage in Singapore. Yeah. NUS is good for space technology and astrophysics related programs. Not sure about that. I've not seen a specific program on space technology. You might have to check out the website for that. I've seen more broader courses in terms of, as I said, mechanical and aerospace engineering. Yeah. Is SAT exam also a requirement? It's not compulsory for NTU and NUS. What I've seen is for majority of the bachelor's program, it's not compulsory. It's good to have. Yeah. Anything else? By the way, could we buy citizenship of Singapore upon investment in properties? I really don't have idea about this. I'm not sure if you can buy your citizenship, but if I just give you like a general outlook, right now for Indians, it's become very, very difficult to get citizenship or PR in Singapore. I have friends who've stayed in Singapore for 5 to 6 years, and and they've been earning there and contributing to the economy. And despite that, they are finding it very difficult to get a PR in Singapore. So forget citizenship. So right now the status is very challenging. PhD scope in NTU in mechanical engineering. Definitely, as I said, very good scope of mechanical engineering in NTU and NUS. They have a tie up with a lot of industries. The professors are very well renowned. So, if you are able to get a PhD seat, I think the kind of research work that you will do is going to be top notch. Singapore is cheaper than USA in terms of bachelors. Yes. So Singapore cost of living as well as fees is lesser as compared to that of USA. But at the end of the day, if you get a job in Singapore, then the salary is also going to be slightly lesser than USA. So it's like you have to weigh the pros and cons and then decide. When will communication course start for Wise Up? let me know, are you interested in joining the communication skills course? We can actually start very soon, and we'll let you know if you're interested. We can actually start another course very soon. I would really recommend that what you can do is go to our website, which is www.wiseupcommunications.com, and just create your account there. That way, what will happen is that whenever we are conducting, just go to the website. I think I've typed the wrong link. That way, whenever we are conducting our course, we will actually notify you, and then you can sign up. Yeah, I mean, that's the right link. You can check it out. Okay. Um, Singapore government portal to apply job is not clear. How to apply for a job? So Sikandar, personally, I've never applied for a job through the government portal. What I have always done is I've gone to the individual company websites and then I've applied for a job from there. Government portal I've never used before. Yeah. Which is better to do, masters or bachelors in Singapore? I mean, depends what your career objectives are. So if you immediately want to start working in a foreign country, get good experience right after your undergrad, then obviously Singapore is a good option. But at the end of the day, when you're going for a bachelor's degree, you end up spending more money as compared to a master's. So I mean, you need to weigh the pros and cons accordingly. So, for undergrad admissions, are tests like TOEFL or IELTS necessary, and will SAT score matter for admission? So, both TOEFL or IELTS, which is like English proficiency test, and SAT is not mandatory. It's all good to have. So, if you can go for TOEFL or IELTS score an exam, and if you score good marks, I would definitely recommend you submit it. And same for SAT. So SAT is also definitely good to have. So if you are able to get good scores in SAT, please submit it. It actually boosts the strength of your application. NTU. So the another question is NTU versus IIT, which is a better option? So Aditya, for that you need to tell me what are your parameters for comparing, and then probably I can let you know. Otherwise, it's a very broad comparison. Could you please share your WhatsApp number? I can share my website link with you, and then if you have any questions, you can just post it there, okay? And we will get back to you. Sorry, can't share my WhatsApp number. Otherwise, I'll keep getting calls and messages every day. Yeah. Um. Sorry to put you in too many questions. Why is it difficult to get citizenship or PR in Singapore? Does pandemic affect the situation? Mark, this is my last question. No, no, Ashwin, it's absolutely okay. It's difficult now because I think there are already a lot of foreigners in Singapore, and what Singapore is trying to do is control the number of foreigners that are there. Probably that's my understanding, which is why it's now become difficult. 10 years earlier, it was much more easy, but now I think there are enough people contributing to the Singaporean economy, and I don't think they need more foreigners, which is why it's more difficult now to get it. Yeah. Should I go to Singapore for UG in humanities, law, or stay in India? Can you list the pros and cons? I personally have less idea about humanities and law. I might have to do some research and get back to you on that. So really sorry, can't list the pros and cons much about this field. All right. So, other than academic performance, what are the other parameters for admissions in NTU? So, apart from your academics, you obviously need to submit a statement of purpose where you need to write down why you're interested in studying in that university, write a little bit of extracurriculars that you have done. Then you have your admission test scores like SAT, TOEFL, IELTS, all these things also you can submit. So based on your overall application, they then decide whether you should get an admission or not. How is EC engineering job scope in Singapore? It's pretty good actually, because for electronics and communication field, there are a lot of semiconductor industries in Singapore, and they are actually hiring a lot of people. So it's Micron. Then there are, I mean, the most famous company I can think of is Micron. Otherwise, there are more companies as well in the semiconductor industry, and so that way, very very good scope for electronics and communication engineers. Is 8.5 CGPA nice for NTU and CS with one research paper? I don't think I'll be able to evaluate your profile like this, because there are a lot of other parameters that the university looks at. 8.5 should be fine provided the rest of your profile is strong. That's all I can say for now. It depends on the overall strength of your application, okay? Can you please share your experience about the Singapore local people? Absolutely. So I think when I was in Singapore, I actually had the best time. After the pandemic, things have not been as comfortable for Indians there. But before the pandemic, during my time in Singapore, I had a brilliant time. In the sense that the people were very friendly. In fact, I had more Singaporean friends, more international friends than I had Indian friends. In my office, I had like an entire gang of 8 to 10 people. Most of them were either Singaporeans or from other Southeast Asian countries, and I never missed not having an Indian person to speak to. So that way, very very friendly, very nice. Same goes for NTU, because I was doing a master's program, I did not get a chance to interact with a lot of Singaporeans, because most Singaporeans, they just go for like an undergrad degree and then they get a job after that. But overall experience, even staying in Singapore, racism and all those things, at least I never faced that. I don't know about the situation right now after the pandemic, but before, it was really nice, really nice. In fact, I've been to the US, and that is where I used to feel that tinge of racism there, but never in Singapore, never. Okay, there's so many questions that have come now. For Singapore PG universities, what is the eligibility criteria? I mean, you need to have good GPA, and other than that, your test scores are there: GRE, TOEFL, IELTS. These are the basic things. Other than that, whatever requirements are there, please check the university website. Do you live in Singapore now? If not, where are you now? I don't live in Singapore now. I moved back to India 2 years ago, and I live in Kolkata. It's a city in India right now. What is the intake strength of international students in NTU and NUS per year in the finance field? I don't know. There are numbers, such numbers are actually not revealed by the university, so I have zero idea about this. Percentage of work opportunities after masters from NTU in other Asian countries like Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, or other parts of the world. I would say after doing your studies in Singapore, you should try and look for a job in Singapore. Um, because at the end of the day, wherever you get your education from, it's easier to get a job locally in that country as compared to other countries. But out of all the countries you mentioned in terms of Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, I would say Malaysia has a very high chance after Singapore for you to get a job there as compared to Japan, Hong Kong. I have a friend though who after her PhD did get a job in Japan, and she's staying there right now, if it helps. um Yes. So Anirban is asking, have you met Ankita, some other PhD student in NTU? Now that you mention it, I've actually known her. Ankita, I think she used to stay in the same hostel, the graduate hall too, as me. I've actually met her before. How do you know her? Is SUTD Singapore good or not? It's a good option. Obviously, not as reputed as NTU and NUS, but still a good option for engineering and science students. Kolkata, where? I can tell you that I stay near airport Haldiram, and I think that's the maximum I'm going to tell here. Yeah. Please, ma'am, tell shortly the process if I search online and got a job in Singapore-based company. So, Sikandar, what you need to do is find out which companies you would like to work for, what openings do they have available, and then after that, you can apply directly on the company's portal. Okay? Will a person feel homesick in Singapore when doing a PG because of the different culture? Initially, yes. And I think that's how I even felt when I started my master's in Singapore. The first 6 months were very difficult because you're in a new country, new culture, not many Indians as compared to other countries. Like in US, generally what happens is that Indians stay with Indians and they form their own group all the time. It doesn't happen like that in Singapore as much. So the first 6 months could be a little challenging, but then you eventually settle down, and at least that's what happened with me. And then after that, I never felt homesick. In fact, Singapore actually felt like my home in the 2.5 years that I stayed there. Harish is saying, hi, I'm a student currently studying in NTU. How to make most of my time here? Harish, so I think there's a lot of things that you can do. Firstly, I'd like to know, are you in your undergrad or are you in your postgrad right now? Even though even if you're doing your undergrad, I would say the best thing to do is participate. Yeah, undergrad is it? Yeah. So the best thing is to participate in a lot of activities that keep happening around campus. There are a lot of hall events which take place, which you can participate in. Assume some leadership positions as well if you want. Other than that, there are so many societies and clubs in NTU, and whichever interests you, you can be a part of that. Personally, for me, when I was doing my masters, the best thing I used to like about NTU is that there used to always be some informative sessions happening on campus, and I think you will always receive emails about that, right? And whatever used to interest me, I used to just go and sit there. And great staff used to always gain something out of those sessions, and that's how I used to utilize maximum amount of my time. I used to catch hold of one friend and tell them, hey, listen, let's go to this session and attend this and see what we can learn today. And that used to be very nice. Apart from that, for part-time money, I used to work as a communication coach at LCC Communication Cube in NTU. So you can check that out as well. That's again a great opportunity for you to not only boost your own communication skills, but also earn some money there. So that's also something you can check out. um Oh, okay, nice. And even that's nice to know. Is there more scope in finance field as compared to that in engineering in Singapore? I don't think I'll be able to give such a comparison because they're completely different fields and both have very good scope in Singapore. What's the percentage of scope? I can't really tell you, but I would say roughly that both engineering and finance have very good scope in Singapore. Best time to apply to NTU for bachelor's. So the applications usually open in October, so you can start there. How's the overall expenses there in Singapore for PhD? Like PG would be better, universities provide accommodation. So when you're going for a PhD in Singapore universities, you firstly go on a scholarship. Most of the time, you will go on a scholarship. If you're not getting a scholarship, then please don't go because it's going to be very expensive. So when you're on a scholarship, then your tuition expenses are taken care of, so you don't have to pay anything. Apart from that, you get $2,000 a stipend every month. And once you pass your qualifying examination, that actually becomes 2,500. So with that, you can actually pay your living expenses and all other expenses. And in fact, at the end of the month, you might even end up saving some money. So if you're going for a PhD in Singapore, you actually won't be spending any money. In fact, you will end up saving some amount of money at the end of 4 years. Yeah. I'm desperately trying for Singapore PR from India via S Pass or E Pass, but end up being rejected. Is there any other way? I don't think there's any other way. That's what's happening with most people. As I told you right now, it's very difficult to get a PR in Singapore. Harish is asking, as an undergrad, I want to meet and speak to more of the PG students here. Any tips regarding that? Anything you have noticed regarding this? To speak to more PG students, one way I think I can think of a lot of places where you can. One would obviously be the canteens where most PG students will be there. Other than that, any graduate students club events, if they are happening, you can definitely attend that. All the GSC events will obviously be attended by grad students, so you again have an opportunity to speak to them. Yeah, and other than that, if you have any common contacts through your professors, you can also get in touch with them like that. Hmm? If I get good gate scores, less CGPA barrier. See, it's better to have both, like a good gate score as well as a good CGPA. So definitely having a low CGPA will decrease the quality of your application. That is definitely going to be there. Hmm? Anything else? Guys, I have last 3 minutes left. So please tell me if you have any more interesting questions to ask. Hello, hi. I'm waiting for some interesting questions. Good question. So, Harish is asking, are students who come to NTU without a tuition grant able to get a job here? Absolutely. So, if you think that tuition grant has to play a role in you getting a job, that's actually not true. You, at the end of the day, still need to find a job for yourself. Just because you're on tuition grant or service obligation, that doesn't mean the government or the companies are going to favor you over other people. It doesn't work like that. So if you do well in your engineering program, if you do internships during your undergrad, then you have very high chances to get a job there in Singapore. Um, how much can an undergrad student earn by doing a part-time job like teaching per month? That depends. So in Singapore, the rule is that doing like while you're studying, you can only work for 16 hours per week. So on an average, students generally earn $10 to $12 per hour. So you can accordingly calculate that. Yeah. So somewhere around $700 is a good estimate per month you can actually earn doing your part-time work. All right. So now one final question. Anything? Okay. So one final question is $2,000 good stipend to survive in Singapore? Absolutely. So if I tell you the breakup, if you're staying on campus, then you spend around 600 to $700 at max on your accommodation. That too, if you know you want an individual room with your own bathroom, all the luxuries on campus, then you can have a room for $700. Apart from that, you will spend somewhere around $300 to $350 on food, and take another 150 to $200 as miscellaneous expenses, going out once in a while, buying other household items, and that is it. So I think in 1200 $1,300 max, you'll be able to cover all your living expenses, and the rest of the money you can easily save. All right, so one more final question. What ethnicity type students are there in Singapore University? Is completely mixed. Obviously, majority of the people you will find there to be Singaporeans, who are like either Malay Singaporeans or Chinese Singaporeans. Obviously, Singapore also has a population of Tamil community, and you'll also find them there. Other than that, you'll obviously find Indians there. You will also find some people from European nations as well. like Portugal, Turkey, Kazakhstan, Ecuador. So these are some other countries. Obviously, people from Southeast Asian countries are there. Very easy to find either Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, all these countries, Malaysia. You'll find a lot of people there as well. Yeah. Less people from US. I would say US. I haven't really found many people there, but yeah, that's all. Okay. All right, guys. So thank you so much. Thanks for joining me today for this live session. I'll keep doing more such live sessions for you guys. So wish you all the very best. If you guys have any more specific questions about Singapore, you can actually go for my one-to-one consultation. I'll just put the link here in the chat box for you. And then we can clear all your doubts about studying or working in Singapore. Okay. Yep. So I've added the link here in chat box. And bye. Wish you all the very best. Take care.